Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Linda B, and welcome to the Linda B Show. We're going to be talking about a very controversial subject. You know about the Minnesota mom, the white Minnesota mom who called a black child the N-word, hard R. Yes, we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Watch the video to the end. Let's get into it. So first of all, I want to introduce to you all again, welcome back to the show, Teresita Glasgow, and she has her own channel, Dr. Teresita Glasgow. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You are so welcome. All right. So you've seen this video.
Yes.
That's been going around, and I got it queued up. We're just going to see it again. And you know, all the necessary words have to be bleeped out or you get in trouble. So I am going to share this with you right now. We're going to look at this because this has been making its way around social media. I mean, it really, really has. And a lot of people have their own opinions about it. I definitely have my opinions about it. But, you know, everybody's got their own opinion. So let's just go ahead and share this so we can take a look.
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody dig into your That little kid, you call him a the little child? Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word. That's what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that. Huh. Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
All right. I got that from Matt Walsh, as you can see. All right, let me just, did I leave you out? Hold on a second. There we
Bring
go.
me back in there.
All right, we live, so whatever goes, goes. All right, so there it was, and she just kept saying things. She just kept saying it. And I was hearing that the child is actually older than, 5. I heard that. And what are your thoughts on this? Because now I'm hearing she's got a GoFundMe.
Yeah, she has a GoFundMe, and
she's gotten about $700,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of money. And what do you think? What are your thoughts? Why do you think people donated to her? That's my question.
Wow, that's kind of a loaded question, because I would say a lot of people, but who are the people, and what is the motivation for them donating to her? I've been looking at a lot of the things that have covered her on the news, what I could find. And I was surprised because I couldn't find anything about the child. Couldn't find anything about his parents, which you would think that something like that happening on a playground, that a mom would be there.
Yeah, that was one of my first questions, like, where are his parents?
There was nothing. And even with a follow-up, even if they weren't able to confront her there, where the other guy did confront her. So if he heard that, where's the mom? Where's the family? And so
I don't know. I did hear that the siblings were there, not the parents. So evidently he had older siblings there, or siblings, but not, parents. And I'm like, wow, that's the first thing you want to know. Like, where are your parents? Because if you're with your child on the playground and you're watching them, because it's the playground, you're watching.
Exactly.
Any good parent is really watching and paying attention and being very alert. And when the child went to someone else's stuff, what's the natural thing for a parent to do? Stop that. That's not yours. Get your hands out of there. Exactly.
And then they were saying that wasn't an issue with the child. Was he
I heard that the child is autistic.
autistic? Right. So you would expect a mother, caregiver,
Hmm.
someone to be with that child. So I'm a
Absolutely.
little suspect about that because you have this lady and she's blurting out the N word,
Hmm.
and then when she's confronted by another person who's there, she continues to blurt it out more and more and more.
Hmm.
And obviously it's not a foreign word in her vocabulary. She has said
Hmm.
it before,
Hmm. Oh,
which
absolutely.
she admits to. Um, but I'm still wondering, where are the parents? Where are the caregivers? How is it we are days away from this event
Hmm.
and there's no coverage of the child, the parents?
Yeah, it's
You know,
weird.
the-
They've stayed completely out of it. There's
you would,
nothing of
yeah,
them.
you would. I mean, if it was my kid
Hmm.
and I caught wind of it, especially in to this day and age,
Hmm.
because there's so much going on in
Hmm.
this particular day and age. There are all kind of people and resources that you can call and
Hmm.
contact
Hmm.
and make a big stink about things,
Oh,
you
yeah, for
know
sure.
and nothing like that has surfaced in my review of it. I was looking for that, but nothing
Hmm.
surfaced. But
Yeah,
everything that surfaced had to do with the go. It's not even a GoFundMe. It's a
I think
give,
it's
send,
give, send,
go,
go.
give,
Mhm.
send, go. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
say
yeah,
GoFundMe for everything. So,
yeah. Me too. Me too. Me
but
too.
it's strange because then I heard about the man that was actually doing the filming, that the man actually is an immigrant, I believe they said from Somalia, and
Somalia.
that
Yeah.
he has convictions of SA. We can't say it on here,
Right.
SA, and he's at a playground. That's where you're
Exactly.
not supposed to be with that in your history. So that was
Exactly.
that. But I didn't want to focus too much on him because the focus is really Shiloh, Hendrix. And
Hmm.
I got to say, I think with the way she was talking, the people who did donate to her is a good chance. Well, I'm just going to say it. They racist
Well, I mean,
because of what she was saying. You know,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
I listened to what she said, and I'm kind of like, of course, I don't like calling people names. I don't like to be called names. I think
mhm,
people who call people names usually do it because they lack the vocabulary or the wherewithal to have an intelligent conversation.
mhm.
Obviously, something is wrong because she's calling a child that.
Yes, that was my biggest thing too.
Yeah,
I covered this on my other channel, and I'm like, it's still a child. That is
yeah,
just like below the belt. That is
yeah.
just really, really nasty. He is a child. You don't do that. What she should have said, in my opinion, is no, no, honey, where are your parents? That don't touch that. That doesn't belong to you. Where are your
Right,
parents? That's
exactly.
it. That is it. No name calling. No, she was cussing. She was N-word dropping, middle finger. I mean, she
Right.
and I thought maybe she was having like a really bad day. No excuse for it.
But that's probably her typical day.
You know,
Yeah, that's
no
that's
excuse
probably
for it. But I'm thinking sometimes when people have bad days, they lose it even more. But she's out of bounds. I
hmm
thought that what her behavior was despicable. I called her a
absolutely.
heifer, a heifer. In the
Yeah.
South, we say heifer.
Yeah, absolutely. It was out of bounds, definitely. It's
Hmm.
not something that I would think that a normal human being would do to a child, especially the
Yeah.
child is autistic. And I think the
Yes.
guy that was recording it said the child was 5 years old.
The people have been saying that there's no way that child is 5. They look bigger than
Mm,
that. It was
Yeah.
just a quick glance over.
You only saw a quick glance of the child. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seemed to be bigger than older than 5. But my thing is,
Now,
why?
do you think that she's racist, or she just has she just doesn't know what to say? She's just
I think,
white ghetto.
well,
She could be just
is she
white
white ghetto?
ghetto.
Um, I would probably say she probably is, on because of the repetition of it. She kept saying it, and she said it to another
But
person
she
who
didn't care one way or the other.
she
That was
didn't
obvious.
care.
Yeah.
She didn't care, and the guy filming was black. Well,
Yeah.
he's from Africa, but dark skinned person,
Yeah.
and she kept saying it to him. She just
Right.
kept saying it, and she just did not care. I don't know what
Well,
could
he
possess.
actually invited her to say it.
He did. He did.
He
He did.
invited her to say it, and so she did, and she
Mhm.
kept saying it over and over
She kept
again.
saying it. I'm like, girl, what is your problem? And now she said on the Give, Send, Go that she's getting death threats. And so she needs money because people put out her personal information. They doxed her, they put out her
Mhm.
name. She was anonymous. Now we know her name, her
Mhm.
address, social, and telephone number, I believe.
Mhm.
So
I,
she's having
there's
to.
just for me, there's just so many questions that I have
Mhm,
around it
mhm,
because it seems so contrived. It seems like um, something that no one would normally do, and
mhm,
everybody is really getting flustered, and it
mhm.
has pushed so many psychological buttons
Oh, absolutely. I think it's
with
meant to.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think it was meant to as well. I think it
So
was meant to as well.
do you think it was, you said contrived. Do you think it was like staged?
Well, you have two people, a
Mhm,
woman, well, when she has a child with her, a
mhm,
woman, a guy, and a kid up on
mhm.
what is
He's
that
on
thing
one of
called?
those little
Like,
jungle playground
monkey
things.
bars or
I don't
whatever.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's on a playground thing,
Mhm,
and the guy has the camera, and
mhm,
he's the one that starts ranting about,
mhm,
did you call this kid
mhm,
the N word? And then
mhm,
she turns around, mind your business. And he was going through my kid stuff and all of this. You don't see any other adults. There are some other adults in the playground, but they're
mhm,
not part of what's going on.
mhm,
You have no parents,
mhm,
no caregivers, no crowd is coming around.
mhm.
And a kid was just called a name. So you would think on a playground that it would draw a crowd.
Yeah, you would
You
think
know,
that
a
somebody would be
mom,
looking like,
somebody's got,
standing around like,
come on. And
that's
if
right.
it's your
You
kid,
know
right.
something.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
it's your kid, somebody's going to run over and say, what
Mhm.
happened? That's my child.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
You
But
know,
there
it's
is a $700,000
oh yeah.
payday.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I saw her for the first time on social media, and it had her picture and it said make her famous. Make her famous for what she did. But I did another video on my other channel, chatting with me, Linda B, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think people are going to be doing this make your famous anymore, because people are getting money, because not everybody thinks alike. She
Mhm.
got $700,000 and possibly will get more. She's going to get more. I
Mhm.
mean, she's getting close to $1 million by now. So make her famous is making her rich.
So I
And
heard the guy from Give, Send, Go,
yes.
the guy that owns it, or
Hmm,
I don't know,
hmm,
his part. He's part of the business.
hmm.
And the thing that he said that was interesting to me was that the
Hmm,
Carmelo
hmm,
situation
hmm.
and this situation are
Yes.
kind of piggybacking off one another with the comments. And that's why they had to turn the comments off.
Yeah,
Not
the
not
comments on that Carmelo thing were horrible. I read
Okay.
some of the comments,
Well,
and
apparently the comments on hers were horrible as well.
and I didn't look
Now,
at hers. I
and
did not
and
look at
and
hers.
they have, I believe, cut the comments off on both of them,
Hmm.
and both of them. And I'm not keeping up with who's raising how much money, but I know it's a lot of money on both
Oh, absolutely.
situations,
Hmm,
and the timing of things,
hmm.
and then and the amounts of money that people are raising, and I don't know. I just
I never thought about it being staged, but when I look at what's happening in our country and its totality, and they just things that are going on, then you wonder if there is a push to get something started, like
a lot of things are being
race,
staged now. There
huh?
are a lot of things are being staged now. A lot of psyops,
Yeah,
psychological
absolutely.
operations
I
going
just
on.
wonder, I just wonder because you know what happened in Frisco, Texas. You just mentioned Carmelo, and then I was like, and they look like they wanted so desperately for Jeff Metcalf to get upset, but he's trying to be calm and he's grieving, and everything is being done to like tick people off,
Yeah,
make them angry.
yeah,
And then for this to happen on the coattails of it
right.
with Shiloh Hendrix. And I'm like, that's interesting you brought that up because that just might be the case. Because, you know, people ready with their camera all the time. You just happen to
I
have your.
mean, this is a black kid. You know how black mothers are.
Oh,
Come on.
absolutely. Where the
And
mama? Where is she? Where'd she
right,
go?
exactly.
Why is
Exactly.
she not over there?
And
Well, who do you think you are calling back? I mean, where is she?
even if they weren't present that particular day,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they were with a caregiver or an older sibling or whatever the case may be.
Uh-huh.
We are days into this now.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yes.
news media usually
Nobody's there.
finds everyone
Mm-hmm.
everyone that is a part of what's going on. They usually find the people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was strange to me. It was strange to me.
Very strange. You're right. I agree with you. The very strange because, and then she's getting all this money. And then, you know, when things are staged, they typically are over the top, you know, like
Mhm.
extra, like
Right.
extra over the top.
Right.
I mean, with the flagrant use of the word, she did
Exactly.
something with her tongue. She
Yes,
flipped
she
him
did.
off with
She
the
did.
bird. She shot a bird. I mean, that and other curse words. I mean, and it was repeatedly said. And for him to say, call me that or something, he invited her to do it and she
Mhm.
did it.
Yeah.
This might have been one of those situations. And I never even looked at it that way.
I mean,
And
where's her husband? Does she have a husband or
yeah, where is her husband? Like, who are you talking to? Leave those people alone. Because most men will be like, just come on.
or just as obnoxious as she is?
Right, might be
You
it.
know,
But
yeah.
something like, where are they? Where is everybody
There's
that belongs
not
to these people?
there doesn't seem to be enough people. When you look at the Carmelo situation, you got his mom, you got his dad, you've got the attorney that's helping them out. You've got a crowd of people, really. You've
Mhm.
got other people who are involved. You know, when they're coming and going, there's a bunch of people involved. This is a situation where there's one woman, she's holding her child, and the guy that's filming the situation. And
Mhm.
that's it.
Now I did see something. Now something else just popped to my mind. I did see something where Shiloh at one time was dating a black guy or had a black boyfriend or something.
Mhm.
And I'm like, And the reason I bring that up is because it just popped up in my mind, and that black guy there was there, but her baby it clearly ain't mixed. But
No, no.
that's one time.
And I saw a couple of articles that were more questions than statements. Has she dated a black guy? And I didn't go into the articles to see if that was a possibility or not. But I mean, even by asking that question, what are you really saying? That she was conditioned to call people out of their name,
I
call
don't.
them the N word. It's
Yeah,
familiar to her because she's around a lot of people of color or whatever, you know. I mean,
mm.
what are you really saying by asking that
But I
particular
did see
question?
that she
Yeah.
had a black boyfriend or her partner was black guy. I did see that, but she evidently feels very free to say what she did, and I'm still stuck on it being staged because it was over the top. It wasn't what a normal, sane thinking person would do if they were to use that word and get so mad that they would use it. Would they continuously repeat it? Would they continuously do that? And another thing, too, what does that say about the people giving to her fundraiser? What does that say?
Mhm. Mhm.
What, I mean, honestly, what does that say? So, do you think this is white backlash because of what happened with Carmelo?
I watched an interesting show, Pierce Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
and he had several people on his panels. I think it was about four or five people on there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and each one of them, of course, had a different take.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting was there was some people who really said definitively that they were racist.
Mm-hmm.
and other people who were offended by them
Mm-hmm.
saying that they were racist. And then one guy who was saying that it was, like you just said, white backlash,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is for blacks now. It's like everyone has um, we can say BLM, Black
Mm-hmm.
Lives Matter, but they
Mm-hmm.
can't say White Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things that are being said and being done in the black community, um, out loud, that if you heard a white person say it, you know,
I
um,
do I do feel the pain of white people, and clearly I am not white. And I because it does look like there's some kind of push to make, I don't know whether it's to overcompensate black people for the injustices of the past or whatever it is. I don't think it is for good reasons, though. I do believe that the reasons are nefarious, because I noticed that black people, in a lot of cases, not all the time, of course, a lot of
mhm,
times we do stuff and we just get like a little pet. And if a white person says something,
mhm,
it's just like a big to do. Like black people can just say whatever they want to say, and white people, they say the N word, or they say, now I don't use it. Let me just say, I'm not the one who uses that word.
right,
It was like a curse word in my house growing up. We were not allowed to
right,
say it. So that is why I don't use it. I see no point in using it. I don't have
yeah,
to.
yeah.
But I can call people a lot of other names other than that.
Mhm.
But
But
I
just hypothetically, Linda, just
mhm,
consider the situation with
mhm.
Carmelo. If the roles had been
Oh,
reversed,
absolutely.
the
It would
the
be different.
situation would be totally different.
Hmm.
And so we find ourselves nowadays confronted by what I call divide and conquer.
Hmm. Hmm. Tribalism also.
Yeah,
Tribalism.
yeah,
People
yeah,
get into their perspective corners based on their melanin amount, and they just take up for the person who they want to take up for, regardless of how what the person did. Because with
yes,
Shiloh, I find what she did hideous. Now, what Carmelo did was far worse. Now we can
yeah,
all agree to
yeah,
that,
yeah.
because
But what Shiloh did was extremely offensive.
oh, very offensive. I'm not
And
absolutely.
if you're inclined to allow words to trigger you,
Hmm.
then that's a button push that pushed your
Hmm.
button,
Because
and
you can say that
and
to
you
the
could,
wrong person.
yeah,
You can say that to
absolutely,
the wrong person.
absolutely,
Now,
absolutely,
somebody else will just walk off and be like, I'm not dealing with her. And
exactly,
they might call her
yeah,
a racial slur, or they
yeah.
might just leave. But the wrong somebody that you say that to, it is going to be an altercation. It's going to be an assault.
And also for group dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
because you could say that to one person, and they, like you say, they just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Say that to another person, and they'll get triggered. But
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that things are right now,
Mm-hmm.
um, if there are certain groups of people that you can say something that to, and it will trigger the entire group.
Mm-hmm.
It'll trigger the
It
entire
might
group.
start like a barroom brawl. I mean, they might
or
all get stopped fighting.
or I hate to say it, a
A
race
shooting.
war.
I did that. I hate that. See, that's what I think, where we're trying, the evil powers out there in the world, they trying to get us into a race war. I really do. And sometimes, these things might be orchestrated, because I still look at what Shiloh did and I'm like, that is so excessive. That is excessive. And what
Hmm.
Carmelo did, why in the world did it have to escalate that far? I
Right.
mean, someone lost their lives. And then after that, the event that happened in Texas, the parents of the slain teenager, Austin, have been swatted
Yeah.
several times, swatted
Yeah.
over. I mean,
It's
just this
there's
is ridiculous.
the reactions that people have to situations. Um, there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, I can't even begin to understand the situation with Carmelo.
Hmm.
And like you say, what somebody lost their life, but actually, you look at it, both of them have
Both of them lost their
lost their
lives.
lives
Two people,
because,
because we
yeah,
don't know how this trial is going to turn out.
right. And even and
And
his life is never going to be the same. It's
mhm,
never going to be the same.
It's not because
It's
people don't look.
unfortunate. You
Mhm,
have two young men doing well in school,
mhm,
by all accounts, from what I've heard,
mhm.
not getting in trouble
Right.
or anything,
Well, I
and
did
then
hear that. I don't know how true it is, and I don't like to repeat stuff that I can't verify, but I guess I'll just wait. I don't want to get into that. But
yeah,
it's in regards to Carmelo. But back to the Shiloh thing, I do think that a lot of this is my opinion. I think that there are some white people who are tired of dealing with black folks. They are
oh
tired. You know,
yeah,
I've seen so many videos. I mean, so many videos of black folks. It hurts me to say it, but I'm like, because I'm black, you know,
hmm
and
hmm
we are fighting, we're being disrespectful, we cussing folks out. We don't do what the police officer. Now, you do have some horrible cops out there. We get that, but some, not all
hmm
of them are bad. And when they give you a command that is within their authority to give, sometimes people still don't comply. There is an issue, you know, in the
hmm
black community, and it is just, and I feel like white people, white Americans are just getting sick and tired of it. When you look at who's in the smash and grabs out in California, when I look
hmm
at those videos, all I see are black folks. When I see people getting in trouble, I see black folks. When I mean, I know we're not the only ones committing crime,
yeah,
but based on the videos that I am seeing and based on the percentage of crimes, like for example, black men make up 13% of the population, but commit around 53%, around 50% or more of the crime. That
hmm
is that is proportionately too much.
hmm
And you know, we can all talk about the
but
fatherless home thing, but I think
yeah,
people are just sick and tired of dealing with it. They just sick and tired of, they can't say anything. They got to walk around on eggshells. If they say something, they got to be called a racist. If a white person says something that is not kind, let's say they have an opinion about a black person that's not good, they automatically get called a racist because the person they're talking about
yes,
is black. It doesn't mean that they're saying it because they're black. They're saying it because of something that they're doing, maybe, or maybe how that person perceives that person's character.
yeah.
They're not talking about the skin color, but it is perceived that way to certain black folks.
So maybe Shiloh figured she had nothing to lose by
And maybe
saying the N
so.
word. You know,
Yeah.
the guy on the camera even says, "We'll see what social media thinks." So
hmm
that's another. It's like, what? You know, why would you
Yeah,
say
you know,
something like that?
that's another thing
You
that could
know,
make you think that this is staged, because we'll see what social media thinks. That's hate speech. But he said it's hate speech. He
yeah,
said,
we don't have hate speech laws as far as I know.
sorry about the balloons. I don't know how they got there.
I was great. Say, oh, a party!
But
Wow, a party!
I know. And I was just like, wow, okay. So hate speech, but that is not something you can get in trouble for, really. I mean, if you
Well,
just
we haven't passed, as far as I know, we have not passed any hate speech laws, and it would be difficult given that we have freedom of speech.
that's what I mean. You have
They
freedom
have
of speech.
tried, they have tried, they have tried, but they run up against that brick wall, and so
And then
by him,
you're
and
gonna
some
run up
countries do
into
have
other,
hate speech.
and
Some
then you're
countries
gonna,
do have hate speech. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna run up into other brick walls as well. Because if you say you can't say this and you can't say that, then what else are we not going to be able to say? You know, once you go down that road of saying you're not allowed to say this and you're
hmm
not allowed to say that, then that is going to leak
Well,
into other
we've gone
areas.
through a lot of that. You know, when you remember when COVID was rampant, I think you can
hmm
say that now. Uh, there were things you would get deplatformed so fast
hmm
for saying certain things, and even now there's certain words you can't say,
I
but
don't even
not
say
like
it.
back then. It was ridiculous. I mean, you couldn't say
Yeah, it makes
anything.
you think, why is that though? Why couldn't we say
But the
that?
other thing is, for what I think is going on as far as Shiloh's situation and her
Mhm.
being free to say the N word and not feel any kind of way about it is that she felt as though she had nothing to lose. So why not, just
Mhm.
go out and say what she wants to say. If everyone else is saying what they want to say, why not say what I feel comfortable saying?
Yeah.
And the culture has shifted
Mhm.
so much that not that it makes it okay, but it's almost like that confrontation,
Mhm.
if we're not wise
Mhm.
with our
Mhm.
with our minds, and if we're not prayerful,
Right.
if
We
if
have
we
to
don't,
definitely, yeah, use wisdom.
yeah, we have to definitely use wisdom.
Mhm.
It's almost like a trigger event, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Um, and if
Gosh,
you saw that with George Floyd, with so many events
so
that have
many,
taken
so
place.
many, so many, right? And it,
Yeah.
gosh, I'm still stuck on you saying it was staged. I'm just like, whoa, my brain's still
Mhm.
stuck on that. It really is, because now you think about it, the certain things that were said, you're like, oh Lord, this was a setup. I don't know. I don't know.
That
People can
I
tell me, you guys can tell me in the comments. I'm just like, hmm,
yeah.
that just it could very well
Do
be
you do
true.
you realize how many uh busloads of people are sent to protest that are
Oh,
paid
absolutely.
paid protesters?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh
I heard about that. But
yeah.
it's just like, I'm thinking, you know what? And something else came to my mind, but I try not to get political on this channel. I really do. But
Okay.
I just try to leave politics for my other channel. But it makes me wonder now, because I know that there is a push to try to cause there to be division amongst the races. I
Hmm.
know there is a push to do that. I really
Hmm.
believe that. And there is such a push. This is why I believe, back to Carmelo Anthony, well, not him personally, but that spokesperson, Dominique Alexander, he says he's a Reverend Dominique Alexander. I call him Al Sharpton 2.0.
Hmm.
He was, I look at that and I go, the first thing comes out of his mouth is he's part of that problem of racism and bigotry, talking about Jeff Metcalf, but he never said anything racist or bigoted.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I think it's trying to get a reaction out of him. I think that's why they're trying to get him angry with the swatting. So I'm just looking at all of these things and I'm going, okay, okay. And something happened right after November 5th with the text messages that went out to people. Did you remember
Hmm.
that? People having to pick cotton and nobody
Oh,
pick cotton.
I
Remember?
could listen. I know you don't want to get political, but I sometimes I feel for my people. And
Mm-hmm.
I usually try to stay away from conversations around color,
Mm-hmm.
ethnicity,
Mm-hmm.
um, because we are so easily triggered
Mm-hmm.
that anyone desiring to push those buttons
Mm-hmm.
and trigger us to do something, it's
Mm-hmm.
not hard, it's not difficult.
It's not
It's
hard at
it's
all.
not it's
But I
not
think
hard,
we've
it's
been
not difficult.
programmed to be that
It
way.
is a programming.
Hmm.
It is a
It's a
programming.
mental programming going on that has caused Black folks in America to be that way, because when other Black people from other parts of the world, Jamaica, Africa, the
Right.
UK, they don't think like that.
They don't think like that
Mm-mm.
until they come here.
Right.
And I'm going to say something, and this might be a little controversial. There's a certain group of people who are immigrants
Hmm.
who come and, or either second generation or first generation, who come and enjoy the story of the foundational Black Americans so much
Hmm.
that they make it an occupation.
They enjoy the what of African Americans?
The foundation, the story.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
When you look at all Black people in the
Hmm.
diaspora all around the world,
Hmm.
the ones that everyone in every continent can identify is the African American.
Hmm.
Our story has been told more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, true. True.
Our story, from Emmett Till to Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
to, so many different movement, Marcus Garvey. I mean, so many different movements that have come about through the years, from slavery on through,
Right. Mm.
that someone discovered a long time ago that Black people, you could really make a lot of money with those stories.
Mm.
Okay. And
Mm.
sometimes what you'll find is people like, say, Joy Reid.
Mm.
Um, Now, I do believe she was born here, but her parents are immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
But I would swear that she had been on a plantation that had being beaten the whole time she was there, because the way her story
Mm-hmm.
and the way that she is really into
Mm-hmm.
our story,
Mm-hmm.
foundational Black American story. But
Mm-hmm.
but her parents didn't go through that.
No.
They may have gone through that where they're from, but
I
I
don't know
mean here.
where her parents are from. Is like, is it Haiti or Bahamas or something?
They're from Ghana
Ghana.
and
Okay.
Ghana and
Mm-hmm.
it might be Guyana
Guyana. Okay. Okay.
and another place. I forget it, an African
Mm-hmm.
place. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
But this whole thing though, I really don't want to hear anything else about any kind of racial thing because they make it racial. Another thing that bothers me, and I know this is getting off of Shiloh, but Black people have a lot, we have a lot of crime in our neighborhoods that's like Black on Black, and you don't see marches or anything until one person, until a
mm,
white person is involved.
yeah,
um 90% of our crimes come from Black on Black. I mean, it's very high. It's very high percentage.
yeah. And I like to look back because there was a time when that was not so,
Oh, I know.
and
I
so
know.
many things have happened to the culture. I was looking at something that was really interesting regarding rap
Mm-hmm.
and how rap came about and how it devolved into where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw something recently on Sexy Red and how she got her start and how she got to be so high so fast,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not someone contributed to that to
Mm-hmm.
kind of impact and influence the young
Mm-hmm.
Black women
Mm-hmm.
now. So there's a
Right.
lot of things going on in our community, to get
Mm-hmm.
back to uh, dealing with Shiloh Hendrix,
Mm-hmm.
that will make people think that it's okay for them to say certain things or
Mm-hmm.
do certain things
Because
when
we
it's
do that.
really not. When it's really
Right.
not.
We say those certain words to each other, not me personally,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I hear Black men call each other the N-word. It's in the hip hop music.
Yeah.
It's all over music. And I don't like the word. I don't use it, but to
Yeah.
each his own. I won't demonize anyone who does use it, but I choose not to.
Yeah.
And I think you have white people that think, well, you guys call each other that, so I'm allowed to.
And
And
some
but you
people and some people who love hip hop, they're just singing the song and that's in the lyric.
Exactly. They
And they're
just sing
white
the
and
song,
they
and
they
don't let a
just
Black person walk by a white person singing that song and it's got the
yeah.
N-word.
Yeah.
Woo, woo. You
But
got a problem. Oh, go
there's
ahead.
no excuse for what Shiloh Hendrix did.
Oh, absolutely. You know I call
If
her a heifer.
if it's not something that was contrived, then I'm still waiting to see the parents of the child.
Right. If it was
We
not contrived, she needs
yeah,
to be ashamed of
yeah,
what she did.
absolutely,
She needs to be
absolutely,
absolutely ashamed of
yeah.
herself. That is awful. That
But
is
what
pathetic.
but the other side is she owned it.
Mm-hmm.
She did own it. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what you see is what you get. This is her.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you've got people who are putting money into the fun, and you wonder, okay, well, where is their mind at?
Where is their mind for if it was something where she was attacked and she didn't say anything or like that, then I could see them giving her money. But she was the verbal attacker,
Mm-hmm.
verbal, not physical. And the word that she used. So I'm looking at the people who gave to her, they had to be racist. That's where my mind goes, and I think
Well,
she is too, to even say that like that.
I'm not so sure. I'm
You're
not
not
so
so sure if they're
sure.
racist.
No, I'm not so
Some of
sure.
them are.
Yeah, some of them may be, yeah, but
Oh,
not.
they
I
are.
wouldn't. I would. And the reason I say that is because language evolves, and the way that we use language a lot of times now is not even the intended use of certain
Mhm.
language. This is another reason why I question her coming out and saying that to an autistic child in a
Mhm.
playground where there's no parents,
Mhm.
no guardian or anything to look
Mhm.
after this child, and a cameraman,
Mhm.
because it just seems weird. But language shifts and changes, and just as we were just saying, 1 minute it's in the music
Oh yeah.
and everybody is saying it, and the
Mhm.
next minute it's racial and offensive.
Mhm.
She did not seem to be bothered by the fact that it was a slur.
Mm-mm.
It didn't seem to bother her at all.
Hmm.
And even so much so that she came back and said it repeatedly, repeatedly,
Mhm.
repeatedly. And a lot of the people who might um, see themselves in her might be not so much for the N word, but just for the fact that she looks like she's standing up for herself.
Mhm.
Because remember when they had the kneel, remember Black Lives Matter had
Mhm.
everybody
Oh,
kneeling?
absolutely. Mhm.
I never, and I'm looking at and I'm saying, okay,
Mhm.
these people are getting on their knees and
Mhm.
kneeling and asking for forgiveness. And how long does that last?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can only, uh, especially with if something is not volunteered from the heart.
Mhm. It's more like it's uh I don't know, force, not force, maybe that's the wrong word, but you kind of feel like you're obligated to do it, because
What do they call
virtue
it? Virtue
signaling,
signaling.
virtue signaling.
Virtue
Yes,
signaling.
virtue
Yeah, yeah,
signaling.
yeah.
And if someone doesn't do it on in and of their own, God
Mm-hmm.
moving upon their heart, they just, I don't know how authentic it is anyway, but some people will take that. They'll take that little bit of
Sooner or
scrap from.
later, you're gonna get resentment.
Because
Sooner
you
or
don't really mean
later,
it.
because you don't really mean it.
You don't mean it.
You
You
don't
don't
really
mean it. If
mean
you
it.
don't mean it, why do it? I mean, it doesn't count in the eyes of God when we do things nice, but we don't really want to do it, and we grumble on the inside anyway.
Hmm.
For the way God looks at things, you might as well not have done it if you got to mumble and grumble about it.
There are so many topics in our culture
Mhm.
nowadays that people are forced to agree with
Mhm.
because of cancel culture,
Oh yeah.
because of not wanting to be the one who looks bad,
Mhm.
because of not going along with the crowd.
I feel like white people are pushed into that category a lot. I feel like conservative Christian white people are just kind of walking around, navigating through America, kind of like uncertain what to do or what to say. And I feel for some reason I feel that way. I feel like they feel that way.
Hmm.
Because I've come across a lady. I give this example sometimes. We ran across this older white lady in the nail salon. She was paying my daughter a compliment about her nails, but the woman immediately said, "But I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't mean anything by it. I was
Hmm.
just saying I liked her nails." And we didn't get upset. We said thank you. So that response from her made me wonder, is this something that some white people are going through? Is like they don't want to get us upset. They want to make sure that they are perceived as not racist.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. They, where I live is about 50-50 black and white. And
Hmm.
I no lie, and I'm over 40, and I've never ran into anyone overtly calling me a name like the N-word to my face.
Hmm.
And they might have thought it because I can't be in your head, but I've never had that happen to me. And so I think I'm one of those black people that just haven't had experience with overt racism like in my face.
But a
I,
lot of people are trained. You
mm-hmm,
know, I say when we were kids, and I know I'm much older than you, but when we were kids, there was a song, "You Have to Be Taught to Hate."
oh yeah, mm-hmm,
Okay. Um, and there are teachings along those lines
mm-hmm,
nowadays
mm-hmm,
in the school system,
yeah,
in the churches, all
mm-hmm,
around,
yeah.
you know.
We just
Um,
got to pray about all this crazy stuff.
absolutely,
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 because
absolutely.
if you're white and you have to be watching this show, we love everybody here.
Yes.
Don't get all up, don't be wondering about, black folks being mad at you.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I did see from that Carmelo thing, I do want to say this: there is a certain segment, not all, but a certain percentage of black people that are angry. And I do believe that
I
they're
think
angry.
a
And I
lot.
also think that there's
I
a
think a
percentage of
lot
white
of.
people that are angry of
I,
all
th-
ethnic groups.
no, there are a lot of black people who are angry, and with reason. And what I mean by that is that if I tell you that no matter how hard you strive, you will never achieve the
Mm-hmm,
American dream.
mm-hmm,
If I tell you that someone is holding you back,
mm-hmm,
and that because of them, you will never be able to own a home,
mm-hmm.
possess the things you want to possess. And
I
you
own
don't
a home.
see, and many do, and you don't see any hope.
Mm-hmm,
Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive.
mm-hmm.
But even that had a payday that was way off in the future somewhere. You don't know if you're going to arrive there or not.
Yeah.
If you're continually told that there's someone who is superior to you. See,
Mm-hmm.
you can't be superior to me without me being inferior to you. I don't subscribe to it.
I don't subscribe to it because I'm just as good
You
as
know?
anybody else.
Not only that, but I can't be a Christian and do that.
Mm-mm. My everything comes from God for me, so I don't look to a
Exactly.
person or the government to give me a darn thing.
Exactly. So, it's there. There's a lot of hopelessness,
Mm-hmm.
um, anger,
Mm-hmm.
many things that are being strategically placed in our culture
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and
Strategically placed, and
and
it's been
mhm.
that way for a very long time.
It's been that way in stages,
Yes,
and
it's been that way in
the
a long time.
stages have escalated.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes,
stages have
but
escalated.
we
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta come on my other show. You gotta come on, chat with me, Linda B.
Yeah, because prayer answers all
Mhm.
things,
Absolutely,
all
absolutely.
things,
And I've been
all
praying for
things.
this country. I've been praying, so we can pray for Shiloh, just in case this is not staged. We shall see. We shall see. But I want to thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much. And guys, you have to go check her out, Dr. Teresita Glasgow. She is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. And you have to check her out. I'm going to put the link in the description box below. Any final words? Any final words?
Yeah, I would say back to prayer again. Pray
Mm-hmm,
about it before you act on it.
mm-hmm,
Use wisdom. Everything that's put in front of you to trigger you may not be there by accident.
mm.
You have to use wisdom.
I pray for wisdom just about every day. Wisdom, knowledge, and discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because what I see going on in the world is orchestrated to get a certain reaction,
Mm-hmm.
to maintain control, and you control people when you keep them divided and upset,
Mm-hmm.
and not properly educated. So we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you so much, and I have to have you back.
Well,
All right.
thank you. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, that's it for today's show, everybody. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications. You all be blessed. Until next time. Bye now. Bye
Bye.
bye.